Vijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Jaya Gaurang Nitai Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Go Nitai Go Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jai Jai Guru Dev Guru Dev Guru Dev Jai Jaya Guru Dev Guru Dev Guru Dev Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pravajakacarya Astota Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Primshika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Radha Kun Shama Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Maipur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Brihad Mridanga Ki Jai Gaura Pramanande Hare Hari Bo All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurvam Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangdi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sute Deve Pranamami Hare Priye Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishvaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to today's ecstatic discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we are going to talk about Canto 7, Chapter 5, entitled Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. And we are going to read shloka number 13. Please read after me. Sa-eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti matim sa-eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti matim sa-eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti matim sa-eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti matim sa-eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti matim sa-eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti me matim. Sa eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti me matim. Vaishnavis, sa eṣaḥ ātmā sva-parety abuddhibhir duratyayānukramaṇo nirūpyate muhyanti yad-vartmani veda-vādino brahmādayo eṣaḥ bhinatti me matim. Hare Krishna, word for word. Saha, he, eṣaḥ, this, ātmā, Supersoul situated in everyone's heart. Sva-para, this is my own business. And that is someone else. Iti, thus, abuddhibhir, by those who have such bad intelligence. Duratyaya, very difficult to follow. Anukramaṇaḥ, whose devotional service nirūpyate is ascertained by scriptures or the instructions of the spiritual master. Muhyanti, are bewildered. Yad, of whom? Vartmani, on the path. Veda-vādinaḥ, the followers of Vedic instructions. Brahma-ādayaḥ, the demigods, beginning from Lord Brahmā. He, indeed, eṣaḥ, this one, bhinatti, changes. Me, my, matim, intelligence. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation: persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the Supersoul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahmā, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created this creation, has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. Purport. Prahlāda Maharaj admitted frankly, "My dear teachers, you wrongly think that Lord Vishnu is your enemy, but because he is favorable toward me, I understand that he is the friend of everyone. You may think that I have taken the side of your enemy, but factually he has bestowed a great favor upon me." Hare Krishna. Since this week is related to the theme of Prabhupada's books, and today they give me the topic talking about the books are the basis And we have to integrate the theme of how Srila Prabhupada's books change a devotee's life in today's class. And this verse is very interesting. Why it's interesting? Because it's very practical. Because even when we become devotees, sometimes we find out there's some people we don't like. And they always appear in front of us. And everything we do, they also want to do something, either give some disturbance or like to get rid of us. And in our hearts, we also, in the same way, we want to retaliate, or at least we want to do something that we can control them. And naturally, we categorize them in the enemy, in the enemy camp. And then we differentiate, this is my enemy, this is my friend. But Prahlāda Maharaj here, he mentioned that if we think in terms of enemy and friend, then we cannot ascertain the Supersoul within ourselves. Similarly, at the end of the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto, when it's time for Parikshit Maharaj, the hero of Srimad Bhagavatam, to leave his body, that time his spiritual master Shukadeva Goswami said, if you think I'm going to die, then this is animalistic mentality. So if we think, oh, I'm going to die, this is my enemy, this is my friend, then we are like an animal. So Srila Prabhupada, one time in 1974, he was walking with some disciples in Rome. At that time, he has one disciple named Dhananjaya Prabhu. And Dhananjaya Prabhu is asking Srila Prabhupada, I think we have two kinds of intelligence. Is that true? I think one kind of intelligence coming from our brain, and another kind of intelligence is coming from the Supersoul. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, we do have two kinds of intelligence. One kind of intelligence coming from our brain, actually that is material intelligence. And another kind of intelligence is coming from the Supersoul. Actually, if we look Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 13, I think the verse is 23. At the very beginning, it is mentioned the function of the Supersoul. The function of the Supersoul, one is the Supreme Overseer, Upadrashta, the Supreme Overseer. And the other one is Anumanta, means the Supersoul, he is the Supreme Permitter. He is within us. He knows all our psychological activities. Even before we know we are thinking like this, we are so mean, actually Supersoul knows before us. And then he's witnessing everything. This is why he's called Upadrashta, the Supreme Overseer. Why he's looking everything? Because according to our situation, according to our mentality, according to our level, then he would chalk out our next program. And he becomes our Supreme Permitter, Anumanta. He permits according to our karma, according to our previous qualities, activities. He prescribes, okay, you can do this. Or you cannot do this, you have to wait. And then we have to think, what is the final solution to help us get rid of this embarrassing situation? Of course, we don't like that there are obstacles on our path of devotional service, even on our path of normal life. But there is an authorized way to do this. It's not that by thinking our problems, we can solve our problems. By thinking of our problems, we become more entangled in our problems. And only by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we can know the secret. Otherwise, it's the natural tendency that for a conditioned soul, we think we can do something. We have to change it. Okay, this person says something bad about me. I can start an anti-campaign against him or her. I also say something bad about that person. But this is not going to change the situation. We have so many instances in the scriptures, like in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, about Shakshi Gopal, the old Brahmana. He promised to give his daughter to the young Brahmana who helped him on the way of pilgrimage. But then when he got home, his wife is threatening him. you cannot marry our daughter to this poor young Brahmana. If you do that, I'll kill myself. So she's threatening him by her life. And then the elder son of this old Brahmana also threatens him. He said, you cannot do this. And he's telling everyone in the village. So during their trip, this young Brahmana must have fed some poison to my father and make him completely confused. In that bewildered situation, he promised to give his daughter to him. That doesn't count. And at that point, what the young Brahmana did, what the old Brahmana did, they didn't feel, how can you do this to me? This is unfair. And if you die, I don't care. Okay, you are spreading rumors. Please don't listen to him. He knew that all the family members are against him. He cannot do like that. He did one thing very intelligent. He immediately concentrated his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. He simply starts to pray. In the same way, we know that in the 9th canto, there's a story of Ambarish Maharaj. When Durvasa Muni was furious with him, and Durvasa Muni created a big demon to kill Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj didn't think for a split of a second that this is unfair. I have been waiting for a long time. I only drink a little bit of water. He immediately starts to think about the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And according to Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned that Ambarish Maharaj, because he completely savai mana Krishna padar vindayo, he completely concentrated his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. He feels ecstasy. He's crying. His hair's standing on end. He's feeling all the symptoms of these 8 symptoms of ecstasy. He forgot about the demon. So the problem solved by itself. And then we think about our own life. If we want to solve our problem, we have to think about a way to empower ourselves, not disempower ourselves. And the best way to empower us is to read Srila Prabhupada's books, because we can find so many amazing things in Srila Prabhupada's books. For example, even in the preface of Bhagavad Gita, we know the description about the conflict between the Pandavas and Duryodhana. And it is mentioned that Duryodhana is so cruel, he doesn't even give the Pandavas a place to put a pin. So there must be a war. And the Pandavas, I'm sure, as mature devotees seasoned in Krishna consciousness for so many years, you must know the story about Mahabharata. So we know how many hardships that Pandavas went through. But we never find a single moment they spend their valuable time to complain. They didn't. And we have to think about this, about ourselves. How much time we wasted in internal mental friction. This is a popular word nowadays. Internal mental friction. Friction means you rub things. So we are rubbing ourselves. We are rubbing ourselves, and this also going to cost a lot of energy and time. We are thinking, shall I do this? Shall I not do this? Shall I go with him? Shall I not go with him? Shall I agree with her? Or I should do something with her? So there is a big turmoil inside our mind. But at the end, we found out all the time is wasted. And we should learn from the excellent examples in Prabhupada's books, how the Pandavas did. They never waste a single moment complaining and reflecting how bad this Duryodhana and his brothers are, how bad is Dhritarashtra. He is our uncle, how they can treat us like this. Even many times their lives are threatened. They only think about Krishna. And in this way, they're empowered. And Srila Prabhupada said, our Krishna consciousness movement is authorized because we based our movement on the book Bhagavad Gita. And then in the very introduction, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, if you become a devotee of Krishna, then you have a direct relationship with Krishna. Isn't that very encouraging? Because sometimes the devotees will feel that they feel very much discouraged. Oh, it's so difficult to become a pure devotee. It's so far away for me to go back to Godhead. What can I do? And when we are not feeling we are related to Krishna, but if we read Prabhupada's books, we feel immediately encouraged. Okay, at the very beginning, even before the text starts, Srila Prabhupada told us, if you become a devotee of Krishna, then you have a direct relationship with Krishna. Isn't that very encouraging and inspiring? We have a direct relationship with Krishna. And what about pure devotional service? No problem. We follow Prahlāda Maharaj's instructions. Actually, in the same canto, canto 7, same chapter, chapter 5, verse 23 to 24, Prahlāda Maharaj said, Shravanam kirtanam vishnu smaranam padasevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakyam ātmā nivedanam iti pamsarpita vishnu bhaktis chan navalakshana kriyeta bhagavati yatha tam mandiditam uttamam. And Srila Prabhupada elaborates in his Bhaktivedanta purport. He mentioned that if someone who knows that he should perform this 9 process of devotional service and he dedicates everything to this devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna, then he is the most intelligent person. And Prabhupada is explaining in the purport how we counteract even our offenses in chanting. In this same purport, Prabhupada said, if you feel you have some offenses in your chanting, you can do shalagram worship to eradicate your offenses of your chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So unless we read Prabhupada's books, we don't know all these jewel-like secrets. And also we find out in our life, sometimes we feel like, how Krishna arranged my life in this way, how he put me in such a situation which I cannot understand, I cannot relate to. I have been sacrificing so much for you. Oh, Krishna, why you are treating me like this? But if we read Prabhupada's purport in 10th canto, the story about how Mother Yashoda, he looks Krishna's mouth because the other small boy, that cowherd boy, they complain, even including Balaram, they complain that Krishna is very naughty, he's eating mud. And Mother Yashoda is thinking, oh, even Balaram is complaining that Krishna is taking mud. I must examine his mouth. So Mother Yashoda requested Krishna to open his mouth. He looked into his mouth, he saw everything in the universe. And also, she saw herself is looking inside Krishna's mouth. It's a very interesting depiction. I saw it in our Mayapur's community hospital, in the clinic of the dentist. They put this pastime picture inside to encourage the devotees. When the dentist examines you, please open your mouth wide. So we feel relaxed when we saw this. And in that pastimes purport, Prabhupada mentioned that if something happened to you and you don't know, you have no explanation why this has happened, how it happened, you completely have no clue, then what you should do, you follow Mother Yashoda's example. You just pay obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what Mother Yashoda is doing. She feels completely bewildered. How it happened? Am I in what kind of illusion? How I see my child's mouth and I see the whole universe. I see all the demigods and I see myself. I see myself looking into my son's mouth. She cannot understand. And then she made a right decision. She starts to pay obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada instructing us, if something happened to us and we cannot understand, then we simply need to pay obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Krishna will do everything. He would empower us. because his pastimes are so empowered spiritually. There's a famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam related to Rasa Panchadhyaya, the Rasa Lila pastime between Krishna and the gopis. And the gopis, they are singing Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam kavirbhireditam. And then the third line, Shravana Mangalam Srimadatam. Shravana Mangalam, Shravanam hearing. So this hearing is very auspicious and it should be spread all over the universe. And Srimad Datatam, we always say Srimad, but who knows the meaning of Srimad? Srimad means spiritually empowered. So this discourse of Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's personalities are spiritually empowered. That means if we read, if we meditate, if we hear, we don't need any qualification. We just give our oral reception. Then we could be empowered. When we are empowered by Krishna, we can achieve so many things. That's why even the liberated souls, they are also relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. In the third verse of this very Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Nikama kalpataro galitam phalam shukamukha dramrita samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuve bhavukaha. So even the liberated souls, they already tasted this nectar, but they want to again taste it. Because when it's emanating from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami, although this is the fruit, this is the matured fruit of the desire tree of all Vedic literatures, it is already very sweet like nectar. But when it is emanating from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, it is more sweet. So even the liberated souls, they're relishing this. Then we can think about Srila Prabhupada. He's such a matured person. And whatever Bhaktivedanta purports emanated from his lotus mouth, mixed with his ecstasy of devotion to Sri Krishna, then how much power we can get by reading, hearing, discussing, meditating on such messages. And nowadays, I notice the devotees, especially in my country, I don't know about other places, in my country at least, the devotees, they like to use a kind of a special blender. It is called speedy blender. And this kind of speedy blender has a special function. Not like an ordinary blender. Ordinary blender simply blends and make everything like become like a porridge. But this speedy blender run in such a high speed. At the same time, it can heat the stuff inside the blender. So it breaks the cells walls. And the scientists, they did a research. They said if you use this kind of special blender and you eat what is processed from this machine, you can get 50% more nutritious things from the food by than you're ordinarily chewing it. So like if you chew something and you get this amount of nutritious ingredients, this much elements. But if you don't chew it by yourself, because your teeth are not so sharp and your mouth doesn't have such a high temperature, so maybe you swallow something in the whole unit. So you cannot fully absorb the nutritious elements inside. But if you put things in this speedy blender with the heat, and after the blender's process, and it breaks the walls of all the cells, so when you swallow, it's easy to digest. It's easy to give you a lot of nutritious things. So Srila Prabhupada's purport is like that. He already breaks the walls of the cells. We read by ourselves. We cannot understand much. But if we read Srila Prabhupada's purport, we got a whole dimension of internal realization and internal reciprocation with Krishna. And we get at least 50% more of nutritious things. Maybe not, this is material scientist calculation. In the spiritual way, we get much, much more things. I want to give you some practical example. I have been teaching Bhakti Sastri for 3 years. And especially the last batch, I have 3 students. They are suffering from severe mental depression. They have to support their normal lives by taking medication. And there's one student, after the, not even finished of the whole course, even halfway, she told me, she said, I want to admit one thing. Actually, before our study, every day I am thinking how to commit suicide because his life is very, very harsh. You just think about if you have a family member every day treating you in a cruel way, and that family member is your child, and is mentally not balanced, and you spend a lot of money to treat him, and he's treating you in a violent way, and you didn't see any hope of improvement, how will you feel? So she said, before the course, I feel like every day I want to commit suicide. I'm meditating, how can I kill myself in this way or that way? But half the course, she told me, now I am only thinking how to live. And I want to give the same message to others. Another devotee, she's also a mother, unfortunately in a similar position. You cannot imagine someone you loved for 30 years and now they become your enemy because they lost their mental equilibrium. They have to take medicine and they're not grateful unto whatever you sacrificed for them. And they even attack you. They want to kill you every day. You are facing this kind of situation. You have no time to take care of yourself properly. You cannot eat properly. All your energy are spent on taking care of them. And you cannot feel that reciprocation of love. And she also feels there's no hope. How I end my life. But then, after taking this course, she said, now I got a mission. I feel there's a hope for me to live again. Another devotee, she told me, before she's feeling very much depressed. Every day she's crying. She doesn't know why. She's crying and crying. Actually, the whole family are devotees. But somehow or other she got this disease. But by studying Srila Prabhupada's purport in a very careful way, she said now she's happy, she's laughing, and she likes to share whatever she learned with the other local devotees. And sometimes you don't need medication. The medication is getting less and less. This is the power of Srila Prabhupada's books. Because Srila Prabhupada's books are really changing our lives. But we have to give ourselves to Srila Prabhupada's books. Nowadays, there is another popular word called completely immersed experience. That means you expose yourself in such an environment that from all angle of vision, from all aspects, that you just experience. So unless we make ourselves in that kind of situation, how can we fully absorb, imbibe the benefits from Srila Prabhupada's purports? Because before Srila Prabhupada, there are hundreds of Bhagavad Gita editions in the Western world, but not one become a devotee of Lord Krishna. But after Srila Prabhupada, after he distributed his Bhagavad Gita as it is all over the world, we could see every day there are people, they become devotees. And sometimes we may think, oh, maybe I'm not intelligent. I'm not intelligent enough. I cannot also to distribute the books. But actually, there are so many souls. They are waiting outside. We can simply do one experiment. I tried yesterday, and very soon I'm going to tell you the result. You have to think about, in this whole world, there are billions and billions of people. And among all of them, there are a large number of people, they have questions. They have spiritual questions, and they're looking for answers. And if we are ready, and Krishna as a super soul, he's overseeing everything and he's permitting everything, he would make a connection between you and that person or those people. He would make such arrangement for such connection. And then you can start to preach to them. You can start to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books to them. I did a simple experiment yesterday. I was thinking, okay, it's Bhadra Purnima. I'm never like a book distributor. I'm feeling like this is very far away from me. I have so many other engagements, so busy. But then I was thinking, maybe I should try. I read this verse for a few times. Then I was thinking, at least in my heart, I should pray. Please, Prabhupada, please, Sri Krishna, please help me. I want to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam on this auspicious day. But it seems like I don't have time and I have no access to other people. I just prayed, and then the result is 7 devotees, they called me, they said, we want one set of Bhagavatam. At the end of the day, I distributed 7 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. The last set distributed after 9:30 p.m. At that time, the devotee is crying. She said, please, I just know about today is so auspicious. I want one set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Can you help? I was thinking, how interesting. Okay, I told her, please be rest assured. You have the chance. Now in Mayapur is still before 12. Because in her time zone, 9:30 is already 12, like midnight. But I told her, in Mayapur, it's still 9:30. And she's crying. She said, I want one set of Bhagavatam. So yesterday, 7 sets. I'm not going outside of my home. I didn't call anyone. I just simply thinking and praying. Because Krishna he's such a good friend and guider and mentor. And sometimes we feel embarrassed how he's personally taking care of us. I give you another example. Just to boost our faith in Krishna's arrangement. Recently, I visited Malaysia. I went there to participate in a Hare Krishna National Convention 2024. One day, I have to give evening class, but I was late. So I called a taxi by online app, and it's showing the taxi is coming so slow. It's traffic hour, and the road is jammed. I could see the taxi is moving very, very slow. When I'm booking the taxi, it's mentioned like 14 minutes left. But I saw, I'm counting on my watch, every 2 minutes left. And on my screen, it's mentioned 1 minute past. So I'm going to be late. I'm so much worried. But somehow or other, 5.5 minutes before the taxi should arrive, it's mentioned another 5.5 minutes left for the taxi to come. And suddenly I got the driver's message, I'm here. So we got on the car with another 3 devotees. After 1 minute, we are a little bit curious because we are so excited. Now the taxi came early so I can catch, I won't be late. So I can show proper respect for all the devotees who are waiting there. So I'm just a little bit curious. I asked the taxi driver, how did you come early? And the driver, you know what he said? He said, Hare Krishna sent me. We are so surprised. The devotee is saying, Hari Bol. And then we asked him, how did you know about Hare Krishna? Do you know something before? He said, no. Before he never heard of this word. But he noticed, he said, you guys, since you get on the taxi, among yourselves, you're just constantly talking about Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And he was so much like contaminated, we can say. And he just blurted out, he said, Hare Krishna sent me. Then we started to preach to him. He agreed he would go to temple. At that moment, my only regret is I don't have a book with me. Otherwise, I can give to him. So this is something to remind us. Maybe you feel like your character is not so open. You're like a rather conservative person. Your character is not so like you want to deal with so many people. But you just keep one Bhagavad Gita or keep some books in your bag, and Krishna would arrange it. Because I saw this happen in one Malaysian devotee's life. At the beginning, he doesn't think he can distribute many books. He just put one Bhagavad Gita. It's not very much heavy. And especially if we check our daily bags, we can see there are so many things like we don't need them. Actually, we really don't need them. We can take out those things out. Instead, we put one Bhagavad Gita or one small book inside. And you would find very soon Krishna would arrange someone. That person would come to you and ask you, do you have a Bhagavad Gita? And you know, during my trip, I met one devotee. And he knows one devotee. I think many of you know the situation in our country. The Krishna consciousness is not publicly recognized. But in such a condition, I met a devotee who, during his Sankirtan, he met a person. This person stays in a remote mountain. He stays in a Buddhist ashram. But his name on his ID card is Bhagavad Gita. And in this Buddhist ashram, they have one Bhagavad Gita. Many years ago, the Buddhist master, he met one devotee and he got one Bhagavad Gita. And then no more contact. And he got one orphan. He adopted an orphan as his Buddhist disciple. But since he got this Bhagavad Gita, he starts to read. He feels everything said on this book is so wonderful. And he named his orphan disciple as Bhagavad Gita. In such an Oriental country, in such a country that Krishna consciousness is not publicly recognized at all, you find someone saying on a remote top of a mountain, his name is Bhagavad Gita, and he's reading Bhagavad Gita with his Buddhist master every day. And they chant Hare Krishna. Because at the end of Bhagavad Gita, there is an introduction of how you practice Krishna consciousness. It's mentioned you have to chant. And now we put this devotee with the mainstream devotees, so they started Sangha. So Prabhupada's books are really changing lives. And you don't know how Krishna would make wonderful arrangement. Actually, all our lives are changed. And since our lives are changed, because if without Srila Prabhupada's mercy, without reading Prabhupada's books, we would be ending like the other materialists. We would be looking after for sense enjoyment and die like an animal. And then again take birth in one of the 8,400,000, like so many species of life. What is the use? But since our life is changed, and we have such a powerful tool given by Srila Prabhupada, and we can simply pray to Prabhupada and to Sri Radha Madhava, to whatever your local deities are, maybe Sri Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, or Sri Radha Krishna. Please make me also a tool. Please empower me. Please let me only think of Srila Prabhupada's purports, the ecstatic purports. When we think of this, we no longer think of birth, death, old age, and disease. Like Shukadev Goswami told his disciple Parikshit Maharaj, you please meditate upon these beautiful pastimes. Because we have been discussing all these beautiful pastimes for the past 7 days, without eating, without drinking, without sleeping. If you concentrate yourself on these pastimes, then you will not feel this snake bird is biting your foot. The material world dissolves. And you won't even see your dead body. No need for you to worry about your death. You would be on the spiritual platform and you transfer yourself to the spiritual kingdom of Lord Krishna before this snake bird bites you. This is what we are looking for. So next time, again, we feel like resentful feelings arise in our hearts. We think about how to empower ourselves. Even we have material desires. Akama sarva kamo ma, moksha kamo dharadi tivrena bhakti yogena. And this, even we have all the material desires, we should still approach Lord Krishna. So even if we have material desires, we want to become victory, we want to become very learned, we still read Prabhupada's books, especially 4th canto. The chapters about Prithu Maharaj. And there is a whole chapter dedicated to Prithu Maharaj going back to Godhead. And at the end, Maitreya Muni is saying the benefits of reading these pastimes. If you want to become a very learned Brahmana, read about Prithu Maharaj's pastimes. If you want to become a very powerful Kshatriya, conquer all your enemies, read about, meditate about, hear about Prithu Maharaj's pastimes. If you want to become a successful Vaishya, making a lot of money, or if you want to become a Shudra, and you want to enjoy all the sense gratifications, anything you want, you just read these pastimes, and you become successful. You get rid of all your bad karmas, and you get all auspicious things happening in your life. And this, everything, at the end, the conclusion is we must read. We must pull ourselves back to Srila Prabhupada's books. It is our nature. It is very easy to do when other people did something bad or say something bad about us. It's very easy for us to think about this. But by thinking about this doesn't solve the problem. Even in the material psychology, there is an example called the effects of chasing a poisonous snake. Suppose a poisonous snake bites you, and then you are thinking, I must kill the snake. So you spend your time and energy to chase this snake. Then what is the result? Maybe you catch the snake, maybe the snake escaped, but you didn't treat yourself. The poison's going inside your vein, reach your heart, then you have to meet your death. So this is a bad effect of chasing a snake. And for devotees like us, we should become most intelligent. We accept this intelligence coming from the Supersoul. We don't accept this material intelligence coming from our brain. Then we become successful in our lives. Hare Krishna. So now it's time. Maybe we have one question. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for the class. Thank you for mentioning on the principles of meditating on the Lord in the difficult situations. So I was remembering one incident that when Prabhupada came to India with his disciples, so Prabhupada's god brothers, they were trying to snatch them from him, and they were trying to preach about Prabhupada in a very negative way. So at one point of time, Prabhupada said that my god brothers are black cobras. He made this statement. So, yes. So I was trying, so can you comment on this? Why Prabhupada said, he could have meditated, he could have prayed to Lord, but then why he became so critical in that situation?
Your last sentence, can you repeat, please?
So, Prabhupada reacted in this way, that he said that my brothers, god brothers are black cobras. Don't.
Oh, cobras.
Yeah.
Black cobras.
Be careful of them. Don't go near them. That's what Prabhupada said. So, why Prabhupada reacted in that way? He could have prayed, and then the heart of his god brothers could have transformed. So why he reacted? So how to understand this?
Hare Krishna. Very nice point. I also heard about this. And Prabhupada did this for his disciples. We have to analyze the situation. If for himself, he doesn't mind, and he would simply meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord. But to warn his disciples, if they don't know these people are dangerous, then they don't keep proper distance from them, then they would be cheated by them, and they would be allured by them. And by this way, Prabhupada's disciples' spiritual life would be in a very dangerous situation. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said that. There's another famous quote from Srila Prabhupada saying something like, I got from my God brothers only like suppression, oppression, depression. This is to warn us. We should keep proper distance from his God brothers, at least at that time. And I remember there's another incident happened that one time His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj is asking about Prabhupada something, dealings between him and his God brothers. And Prabhupada also told him frankly, because the other Gaudiya Math God brother, he's thinking, I don't cooperate with you, Prabhupada, because if I cooperate with you, then I am not a big person. I have a small pond. In this small pond, I'm a big fish. If I go to your side, you have big ocean, and I become a small fish. So Prabhupada directly told Jayapataka Maharaj about this situation. Then they know. Otherwise, we don't know. It doesn't mean that devotees are so innocent up to the level of being foolish, that we don't know what is bad, what is good. We should have this discrimination. We know what is good, we know what is bad, and we know how to avoid them. It doesn't mean that, just like forgiveness. Forgive doesn't mean we keep close association with them. We have to know the boundary. So Prabhupada is doing this, saying this, not to blaspheme his God brothers, but to make his disciples know how they should behave, how they should keep their relationship with his God brothers.
But then Mataji, when we hear these things, so obviously the negative mentality comes, that they are like this, they are like this. The meditation also goes on. So how to avoid that meditation?
It is unavoidable. Automatically our minds become agitated, and then you're asking the way to pacify your agitated mind. So you can refer to Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it's 12th canto, chapter 13, verse 2. And the verse is glorifying Lord Kurma's pastimes. Because Lord Kurma, when his back, his feeling itches and scraped by the sharp stones of Mount Mandara, and he's feeling this scrapping is so comfortable, and he went to sleep, and that time he's breathing out, breathing in. So his exhalation and inhalation, if we meditate upon Lord Kurma breathing, then our agitated mind can become peaceful. And another thing, mentioned at the last part of that beautiful purport, it is mentioned that, please, we just pray, let the beautiful pastimes of the Lord, like a favorable wind, like a breeze, blow through our hearts, our agitated, like desert-like hearts, and then bring peacefulness and sweetness to our hearts. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Time is over. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaura Pramanande. Hare Hare Bo. Hare Krishna. Thank you.